Dude, I can't believe I'm 25 years old already. Actually, I'm like halfway to 26 if I think about it. 6 months from now, I'm gonna be 26 years old. Dude, it's like every time I blink, another year passes, and with every year, there's more changes, and there's more fear, and there's more anxiety, and there's just stress for what's ahead in my future. The more I look back on it, the more I realize how much I've actually been through. I mean, honestly, I've been through a lot in 25 years. It really is interesting looking back on the last 25 years. I mean, all the phases I've been through, all the people I've met, everything I've accomplished, and just life in general has been crazy. It's kind of nice to sit back and just appreciate everything I've done. With all these changes though, it feels like the only thing in my life that's consistent is that I feel stuck. And there have been times in my life where I just consistently woke up and I felt no excitement for the day. I mean, honestly, I didn't really feel anything at all. Actually, no, I take that back. I did feel something, but it wasn't really a good feeling. It was kind of a mixture of fear and anxiety of what the day was gonna bring and what my life was gonna look like. But overall, life just wasn't very exciting. It seemed like anything I would do just felt forced. Studying was impossible, and it seemed like work just lasted forever. Sitting on the couch staring at absolutely nothing seemed to make up the majority of my time. I guess the best way to put this was I just had nothing to look forward to. I was just stuck. I think the most ironic part about this is that I'm the kind of person that sets incredible goals for myself. I mean, I have these massive dreams, these huge aspirations of being something and doing something with my life, but every time I start to feel stuck, it's like all these things that I have in my head just seem impossible. This feeling just makes life seem so much harder because no matter how hard you want to move forward, there's always something holding you back. For me, it's all the self-doubt, the uncertainties, and this little asshole voice in the back of my head that tells me you can't do it. These things aren't worth your time. My universe is just filled with all these doors and all these opportunities, but they're all closed and they seem to be locked. And I think the worst part about this is that I'm the one that locked those doors. I am the one that's holding myself back by feeling this way. Now, I've been thinking a lot over the last 2 years about how I feel stuck constantly, and I had this incredible realization. It seems like in every situation that I'm feeling stuck, the common denominator always seems to be my inability to embrace change. Let's put it this way. Everybody, and I mean everybody, including myself, actually more myself than anybody else it seems, everybody at one point or another in their lives becomes hesitant to change. I mean, for me, once I get in a groove, I really try my hardest to stabilize my routines and my feelings and just keep everything the same. Because honestly, that's just what makes me feel comfortable. I mean, I had to put so much time and effort to get to where I'm at in my life now. Why would I want to ruin that by changing anything or experiencing something different? The problem is this fear and this inability for me to embrace change is what gets me stuck in this feeling all the time. I mean, the reality is I'm not physically being pinned down by anybody. Nobody's holding me back and saying, you can't go anywhere, you can't change, you're gonna be stuck. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's definitely external sources that make it hard for me to change, but that's not the only reason why I can't do it. I guess for me, it's the voice in the back of my head that asks, why do we want to change anything? Why do we want to break the habits that we currently have? I mean, we should be comfortable, right? Like, we work to get to where we're at. We should be happy. On top of that, my greatest fear is the unknown. So why do we want to make our future even more unknown than it already is? Okay, so there's this milestone in our lives that we all hit called our quarter life crisis. And actually, now that I think about it and I say it out loud, it doesn't sound like a milestone. So let's call it more of a phase. This phase in your life is called a quarter life crisis. Now, hypothetically, if we lived to 100 years old, 25 years of age would be our exact quarter for our life. So it's our quarter life crisis. And it seems like every time we hit this range of like 23, 24, 25, we start to have this crisis because everybody else around us is starting their life. Typically, it seems like a lot of people at this stage are starting families, they're starting careers, they're getting married, they're doing all this stuff, and it becomes so hard not to compare yourself to everybody else around you. The problem is, I just turned 25 last year, and honestly, my quarter life crisis started a long time before that because the last 2 years of my life have been hectic. Now, I only bring this up because, like I said, the last couple years were hectic. I mean, I had worked my ass off to get to where I was, but I still wasn't satisfied. Now, for those of you that have been here for a while, you guys know my life was a mess for a couple years there, where I was a drug addict, I fell out of school, I was just a degenerate altogether. I had no future ahead of me. And at the end of the day, I was able to get everything figured out. And the problem was I worked my ass off to get to where I was. I worked so hard to get over drugs. I worked hard to go back to school and graduate. I worked hard to get a first job, and then I did it. And then I felt stuck. I think the reason why I felt stuck though was because I was just settling with where I was. I was happy enough just to be off drugs. I was happy enough just to have a job, and I was happy enough to have a piece of paper that told me I went to college. But the thing was, I wasn't actually doing the stuff I wanted. I had just gotten so comfortable being happy enough with the things I already had that I wasn't ready to make changes to better my life. Like I said, I just worked my ass off to get to where I was at. Why would I want to change that? I mean, what if I did something different and I just lost all of it? But at the same time, if I don't do anything, how am I gonna grow? So after a couple months of feeling stuck, I realized that I felt this way because the changes in my life stopped. I had made all these positive changes, like getting off drugs, getting a job, going back to school, and doing so many positive things, but then I got comfortable again. I got too comfortable. The thing is, the dreams that I have and the goals that I've set for myself are so much higher than where I'm at right now that I don't have time to stop and let myself get too comfortable because I need to constantly work to get better. And I'm not saying you need to burn yourself out, but what I'm saying is that if I want to reach these goals that I've set for myself, I have to make sure that I continue to work towards those goals. If I find myself getting too comfortable with things in my life, like friends I've outgrown or a job that's not actually leading to the career path I want, I'm going going to get stuck because I'm not actually moving towards those goals I've set for myself. I remain stagnant in the place that I'm at because I get comfortable with something that's not what I want. And in turn, this leads to me feeling stuck. Since we're already on the topic of the career path, and this is a perfect example, when I first graduated college, I accepted a sales role, and I had no interest in doing sales, but it was the only job offer I had out of college. So I took it, and for about a year, I felt stuck because I wasn't even looking, I wasn't even applying to other places. I had no idea what to do. I just assumed that the rest of my life was gonna be spent in a career path in sales that I hated. And it wasn't until I came to this realization that I needed to make a change in order to get back in line with the path I wanted in life. I needed to make a change in order for me to go back on the path that I chose for my life. That way I don't feel stuck doing something that I didn't want to do in the first place. And I started to realize there was a pattern. For every time I felt stuck in life, I was doing something that didn't line up with what I actually wanted to be doing. And I started to realize that there was this pattern. Every single time I started to feel stuck in life, I had to evaluate where I was at and what I was doing. And it turns out every time I was doing something that didn't line up with what I wanted long term. When I felt stuck in school, it's because I was forcing myself to do a major that I had no interest in. I thought I wanted to be a doctor, and it turns out I had no business ever thinking I should be a doctor. The irony is now I work in marketing, and they're just two totally separate things, but I finally had to make the change and do what I wanted in order to be happy. It also seems like every relationship I've ever felt stuck in is because I was in a relationship with someone I didn't actually love. And no offense if anyone I've dated is watching this, because it's my fault. At the end of the day, I put myself in those situations, and I get so caught up in wanting to be loved and have love that I forced it, and at the end of the day, I just wasn't in the right relationship. And now I'm with my girlfriend Sophia, and it just feels like everything for the first time just feels right. I think I'm finally doing something more so because it's what I want to do and not because it's what everyone told me I have to do. And then lastly, for the career example, I feel like every job I ever worked where I actually felt stuck was because I was working a job that didn't line up with what my long-term goals were. And don't get me wrong, I definitely had to experiment to understand what I really wanted to do. I mean, I did retail, I did service industry, I did sales, I delivered pizzas for a while, and I eventually worked my way into communications role and marketing, and I finally figured out what makes me happy. But the thing is, if I wasn't open to these changes, and if I wasn't willing to go out and make these changes myself, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. Now, I do think it's important for y'all to understand that this feeling is completely normal. I think a lot of us, including myself, think that we're the only ones that are going through this. We're the only ones that don't have life figured out, because everywhere else I look, people have houses, they have cars, they have money, they have friends, they have everything that I want, yet I'm the one that feels stuck. Hell, even in the research I had done for this video, I saw one of the surveys said that 70% of the people that took the survey felt stuck in life. I mean, it is a lot more common than you would think. Even beyond psychology and science crap, like in my own friend groups, I can have this conversation with people on a weekly basis because it's so common. Now, I'm not saying this stuff to belittle how you're feeling. I'm saying it because this stuff actually makes me feel better, so maybe it'll work for you. I know it's strange, but it's nice because I know I'm not alone, but at the same time, I'm like, oh damn, like it sucks that you guys are going through this too. But at the end of the day, it's important to understand that you're not alone in this. All right, so as I wrap up this video, there are two main things I want you guys to take away from this video. First thing is what we just talked about. I just want to make sure I drive it home that you are not the only one that feels this way. It is so common. We're all floating on this giant rock, wondering what we're supposed to do with our lives, and no one actually knows the answer. So don't think that you're left out. Don't think that you're crazy. Don't think that you're not actually doing anything great in life because you feel stuck. I promise you, every single person at one point in their life will feel stuck. So don't let it stop you from living your life. But the second thing is, don't let it hold you back forever. I feel like a lot of the videos I've seen on this topic just talks about how they feel stuck and how long they've been stuck, but no one actually ever gives you advice on how to get out of it. So I wanted my video to be a little bit more unique by actually sharing what I do in my life when I feel this way. So if you find yourself feeling stuck again, don't be afraid to stop and ask yourself, what changes can you make? What changes can you be open to making in order for you to stop feeling stuck? You'd be surprised how easy it may be. And honestly, if you don't want to make any changes right now, that is totally okay. If you want to feel stuck and you want to be sad for just a moment, do it. Sometimes the best way for us to get better is to just be bad, to be sad. Let it out, do what you gotta do. But that's what I'm gonna leave it off with. I don't want to keep rambling because the more I say, the stupider I sound. But that's all I got. So thank you guys so much for watching. I love every single one of you. You can like, you can subscribe, you do whatever you want. I'm not the boss to you, but I will see you in the next video.